Hello, I'm Steve Henning, and as you can see, I'm here on the floor at Work Truck Week 2025. With me is Tucker Perkins, the CEO of the Propane Education and Research Council. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
So glad you came by. We got a lot to share with you. It's an exciting time for us.
I'm sure it is. So busy show so far?
Incredibly busy. You know, you come and you live through the booms and busts of cheap diesel, expensive diesel, hydrogen, natural gas, battery electric, and you know, this is a show and a time where I think a lot of people explore their alternatives. They're still looking for low-cost solutions, environmentally friendly solutions, and invariably they come to propane. It's a wonderful time to be here and to talk about really what we've been doing for a decade.
Okay, well that's great. I know this is our first day, but what's been the primary topic so far? What's been the number one thing on people's minds?
Actually using our engines to reduce their cost, lower their emissions footprint, and to bring a reliable delivery truck to their fleet.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And I know there was a little bit of news yesterday about some of the changes in regulations and legislation and so forth not necessarily impacting propane, but have you heard much conversation about that so far?
As it relates to tariffs or emissions?
Really both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm fresh from meetings on the tariffs, and I think it's just too fresh, too changing to even make any determinations. But I do think at least this administration realizes how important American prosperity is. And you got to believe ultimately they'll do the right thing.
I think so.
I am excited about at least getting clarity in emissions regulations. We have always been a real champion of efficient engines, so we really haven't been afraid of stringent emissions regulations. We love low NOx, low PM solutions is really what we're all about. And so we just needed to get to clarity, and at least now, today is the first time, I'm beginning to sense clarity that we're going to know those regulations are going to be good for the American public, really good for people who choose propane engines, and really probably consistent with our strategy for the last 5 years in the lab in developing new engines. And you know, if you look around not only our booth, but maybe the show, a lot of our technology is on display.
Well, that's great. And you used the word there a couple of times, clarity. Interestingly enough, I think it was a week or so ago, the head of one of the big three OEMs was talking mainly about tariffs and so forth, but his comment was, as long as we don't go back and forth, if the administration will just give us the direction, whatever it is, we'll deal with it. I suspect most of the people looking for work trucks, you know, those that purchased them and so forth, are probably thinking that same thing. I need clarity. Help me understand what's going to happen, and then I can determine what that journey looks like.
Yeah, you know, everybody's on different sides of that coin, but the engine manufacturers have already been skating to the puck for the 2027 rules, right? We're essentially on top of 2027 if you're an engine manufacturer. So, and I think that's a good thing. I think engines we've all been designing and thinking towards durability, fuel economy, which drives down emissions, maybe lower NOx profiles. So I think all things that are good for the environment and the motoring public. If you're a customer, you're on the other side of that because you've been faced with the potential of having to buy expensive EV, may not meet your duty cycle, may not have a clear strategy on charging. You had to work through hydrogen, which probably fell apart in any one of 10 or 12 areas you may have looked at. And now we're to the point where at least we really see how propane, particularly in the medium duty space, largely in the off-duty space, just offers all of those boxes checked. Low cost of operation, low initial cost, good durability, good thermal efficiency compared to diesel, and that's why you see a lot of activity here today. And it doesn't really matter whether we're on-road or off-road. A lot of the solutions are just exciting.
Well, that's good. What would you say is the big thing you want anybody coming to the show, and specifically to your booth? What's the one thing you really want them to take away from it this year?
I think that this is the time to consider propane. If you're a medium-duty fleet, I don't really care whether you're taking 33,000 pounds or you're the last mile with a light load. if you're interested about your total cost of operation, your cost per mile, if you're interested in your environmental footprint and how you tell that story in the community, this is the right time. And I love talking to people. They can be buying a vehicle today, which we'll fuel it today with conventional propane. 10 years from now, I am sure that vehicle will be fueled by a combination of propane and renewable propane.
Okay.
We don't even talk about renewable propane in a show like this. We don't need to, right? We can demonstrate true benefits, financial and environmental, using conventional propane. But what we're doing on the fuel side is so exciting. We're deeply involved in 8 or 9 science projects where CO2 is the feedstock, and the on-purpose production is renewable propane. Renewable natural gas has done a great job promoting renewable natural gas, generally in Class 8 vehicles. We'll have that same story to tell, generally in Class 5, 6, and 7. We're excited about it.
It comes through with the way you speak about it and kind of what you share. Maybe, wrapping up, do you think we could catch up a little bit in, say, 6 months? I'd be really curious to see if anything's changed or if you're hearing different trends, or also from an administrative perspective, what's happened with the national administration, and have you seen any impact, good or bad?
Yeah, I think, well, certainly we're in conversation with DOE on a regular basis now. And Chris Wright comes to that job as the new Secretary of Energy. And in his first press release, he talked openly about natural gas and propane. That's always a good start.
Sure.
But he didn't really, we're not going backwards, right? We're understanding we want to move forward in better engines, more efficient engines, a better profile for the user. And so we're right on that trajectory. I will tell you, 6 months from now, I'm pretty sure some of the deals that we're working on here today, both engines into OEMs and then large-scale customers taking those new products. I mean, we got products just to our left today, new step van chassis, unique just with a propane engine, not even a gasoline engine or a diesel offer.
Wow.
And we're beginning to see some of that dominance where they recognize that the best fuel for this application is propane. 6 months from now, we'll be able to talk about some of the deals that are flowing, around us as we speak.
Well, we look forward to hearing about that. And as always, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us and just sharing what's the latest here at the Propane Education and Research Council. Tucker, thank you.
So glad to have you. Thank you.